Gas prices in Europe, meantime, have jumped roughly 40% overnight after workers at some of Woodside LNG's platform in Western Australia voted to strike yesterday. Joining me now is our business reporter, Edward Boyd. Ed, these workers could soon be joined by their colleagues at Chevron, who are also threatening strike action.
Yes, so there's about 180 workers at Woodside that voted to strike yesterday, and they work on the northwest shelf above Karratha in WA. And then there's these workers at the Chevron's Gorgon gas plant as well in Western Australia that are also threatening strike action. So the strikes at Woodside could start within the next 7 days. Chevron could be another week or 2 weeks later, depends on whether the workers vote to strike or not. But what it's done immediately overnight, gas futures, specifically Dutch gas futures going into the Netherlands, where a lot of gas ends up going into Europe, have gone up 40% overnight. So it's caused gas prices to skyrocket. Gas traders in Europe and Asia are now concerned that prices are going to remain high for some period of time. Just looking at an analyst report from RBC Markets this morning, these projects up in WA are responsible for about 11% of the world's exports of LNG gas every month. So they're pretty significant and a pretty important part of the gas market. So obviously, if Woodside and Chevron can't negotiate with their employees there at those gas platforms, then there's going to be some serious disruptions to the LNG price until these issues abate, Laura.
Yeah, right. So what does it mean for us here?
Well, look, the good news for us is most of the gas that comes from these places is exported overseas. So only a small proportion of it would end up in Western Australia for Western Australian retail customers. Most of the gas does end up contracted to massive customers overseas. So the gas price in Australia shouldn't really be changing too much off the back of this, because a lot of the gas on our shores is already contracted long term. We know gas prices in Australia have been rising, though, over the last couple of years with inflation, and it's been a big cost of living challenge for Australians. But the northwest gas shelf in particular, virtually all of it gets shipped overseas, so it shouldn't, in theory, have too much of an impact on the day-to-day power bills of Australians living in WA.
Yeah, right. But companies like this and the industry itself hates uncertainty, and this will just add to that, right?
Absolutely. Uncertainty is one of the worst things for business, and we're now seeing some serious problems with industrial action at Woodside and obviously Chevron as well. So one of the other things we could possibly see is more workers joining them too. So uncertainty is never good for business. It's obviously pushed up gas prices. People in Europe are now worried about it. They're just going into winter. October is obviously when winter kicks off in Europe. So they're in a buying stage right now. They're buying as much LNG as they can to have it in storage ready to go for October. So this is another challenge for Europe as it heads into the winter season.